All right, let's see here. See if the feed is running. You got any people hopping in here? One second as you guys are getting in here. Drop a comment. Let me know if you're here and hearing and seeing me. I'm just trying to see if this is all working on my end here. Okay, I see it. Perfect. Okay. As you guys are joining in here, what's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd. I am the admin of, or one of the admins of the freelance videographer community. Started this group back in 2015 to help better support the video producers out there, to better help with all the stuff on business ownership and stuff like that. So, in today's session, I'm going to be sharing a little 30-minute or so video or pitch deck, excuse me, kind of about my sales process and how I do two-step sales pitches, which helps me a lot with closing higher ticket projects. So $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 projects. So I wanted to share a little bit about that today. I've also got a pitch deck, so if I can't share it, I can also link it in this live as well. But one of the reasons was I want to give back to you guys as much as I can. I have some tips and strategies that I've been using that I wanted to share with you. I thought it would be a good thing to share. So if you guys have comments, leave them in the comment section. I'll try to bounce in and out as I can. And if you're not hearing or seeing me, let me know since I'm running this live solo today. So, okay, let me see if I can share my screen for you guys. And if not, I can just talk through the pitch deck here. So, okay, it is looking like I can't share it, but I will put a link to this in the comment section of this post when this is done. So, first off, the agenda for today, as we're kind of jumping through this, I want to share my two-step sales process that helps me close, like I mentioned, $10,000 plus projects in the video space. So, been doing this for about 8 years or so. I have a lot of the different things that have worked for me in the past that I want to rev in there and see how things are working better. Second is I want to share my best pricing strategies for you that you can leverage right now and try to get the most benefit out of that, as well as my 6-step sales process for the higher ticket offers, and really kind of positioning you versus value framing versus the price comparison game, which we want to try to avoid as much as we can. So let's just jump right into it. Like I mentioned, I will share the slide deck after this is done since I can't share my screen on live right now. So, okay, a little bit about me. Who the heck am I? Why should you be listening to this live? Like I mentioned, my name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd. I own a video production company here in central Iowa called Snod Media Group, and we specialize in helping companies of all shapes and sizes better leverage their video marketing across platforms. So I've been doing this for about 8 years or so. It's been a really fun, rewarding process. Before I went into my business full time, I was actually working for a larger video production company and doing marketing strategy for them. I had a lot of times where I was sitting on sales meetings with $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 video projects on the table. So I have a lot of unique experience that I can bring to help you guys better understand sales and everything like that. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So jumping in right here, as I mentioned, current day, I have a multiple six-figure video business. My average close rate with sales are around 30% or so. Industry average is probably 15%, 10 to 15%. So that basically means for every 10 people that I will have on a pitch call, I will close 3 out of those 10 people typically. So some of the practices that I'll talk about today, I've been using and helps me improve that close rate more frequently. I also have 2 online education businesses, which is Solo Video Pro and Six Figure Fitness Filmmaker. So if you've seen me post about stuff like that before, I've made DIY courses to help other people better understand this stuff as well. As we mentioned, we have this Facebook group, great resource, but we want to go a little bit deeper today. So, kind of jumping in here, the first thing that I see a lot of people say is like, isn't sales boring? And to some people it is, but the most important aspect of your business is sales, because if you can't get clients in the door, you can't create anything. So my biggest advice to people is to take sales very seriously. Take client acquisition as a big part of your business. A lot of us out there, if you're listening and tuning in, put in the comments if this is you. You're usually just really focused on the creative side, right? We just want to shoot videos, get paid, but there's a piece of this that is the business side, which I want to really focus on in today's video. So we can make it fun, we can simplify this process, and we can make it repeatable so you guys get better at it over time. So that's really the big piece there. I'll pause here before we jump in. I know we got some questions coming in. One of the questions we've got is, how can I build my wedding video editing services? Great question. You can outsource some of those services. I would say the biggest thing is finding other wedding video producers that are booked up too much, and then asking or offering them editing services for them, since that's going to help speed up their process and they could take on more projects. So number one would be reaching out to other production agencies that focus on weddings. That would be my biggest advice there, but great question. Keep those coming in. I might pop off the slated path here and answer some of your guys' questions there, but thanks for putting that in there. Appreciate that. Okay. So jumping in here, we have really 4 pricing options that I would say most people have that they use a lot. So number one is hourly. I would avoid this like the plague if that's you. If you're charging by the hour, it's the fastest way to the bottom. People will pick the cheapest person, and then also being inefficient at your job makes you make more money, so you're incentivized to not do as well, right? So we want to avoid that. Avoid the hourly stuff like $50 an hour, $150 an hour. Try to avoid that as much as you can. The second option that a lot of people have is the day rate, right? So $500 a day, $750 a day, $1,500 a day, whatever that day rate is. And that's pretty industry standard if you're working for other shooters, right? If you're getting contracted out by another video production company. The problem with doing day rate as well is that, again, you're capped, right? If your day rate is $100 a day, which hopefully it's way more than that, you could only make $700 a week maximum. That's the most money that you could make if you worked every single day. So I try to avoid the day rate as much as I can, unless I'm subcontracting for another company as well. This moves us into the last 2, which are the ones that I want to try to focus on with this call, which is value-based pricing and retainer work. So value-based pricing is basically, I know this video is going to be of certain value for you. Maybe that dollar amount is $10,000, so I would charge you $10,000. There's a lot deeper way that we can talk about how we get to that number, but it's basically, if you were to create the same video for Apple as you were for your local barbershop, Apple's probably much more willing to pay a higher premium for that because there's more value to them, right? There's a lot more upside for them if they sell more iPhones or computers or whatnot compared to the barber getting a couple more clients in the chair. So that's a really big piece there. The last one is the retainer option, which I think a lot of us are shifting towards, which is retainer priced services, which is basically you're doing a set amount of deliverables or set amount of work per month for a set rate. So $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and having those people on recurring billing, which is really nice that way. So those last 2, the value-based and the retainer pricing, is really the ones that I would suggest most of us get involved in, right? In terms of the higher ticket ones, we mentioned value-based is really great because if you solve bigger problems, you get paid more, which is great. So the bigger client you find, the bigger problem they have, the more money they're typically willing to pay for that, which is super nice. Also, it helps you understand the core issues, right? I help a lot of business owners, and video production people typically don't know all the problems that business owners face, but I'm a business owner myself, so that helps to kind of understand what some of these guys are going through and help better understand and communicate that. So really quick, again, I will post this sales deck or this sales presentation deck into the chat when this is all done, so you guys can browse these, but I have a graphic here that explains kind of the sales pipeline. So it's basically the cold reach outs, the YouTube searches, the social media, everything leads you to your website, and capturing that lead information on your website to then sell them a little bit more. So kind of the buyer's journey that I follow is, once a client gets to my website, they fill out my contact form and they reach out to me. There's a couple things that happen. One, I'm going to qualify them and see if they're even willing, or if they're even a good candidate for me. So that's like a company that typically has 10 or more employees. They're doing $1 million or more in revenue a year. They have some bigger marketing problems they want to solve. That's typically who I work with, right? So say that's who reaches out. I'm going to set up a discovery meeting with that person. So we're going to start into this 2-step sales process. The biggest thing too, before we jump into the actual nitty gritty of how this works, is and you think about this in your mind while you're watching, but what kind of questions would you ask yourself if you're about to buy from someone, right? Are they confident in what they have to say? Do they have things that they want to illustrate well? Things that are coming across like they've done this a million times, right? That's kind of the confidence that we want to exude with this type of approach. So really the 6 steps that I would encourage you to look at would be finding really good clients that have real problems, meaning Good clients that are responsive, have a big demand for what you have or a big need for what you have, and they have a budget for what you have and real problems that are willing to be solved with money to solve those, which is great. Second is to ask probing questions. So ask those questions that get the right answers to you, right? I'm not sending a sell sheet or rate sheet to someone I've never met before. If they're not willing to get on a call with me, they're probably not a good client for me. So that's really what I try to do with that. The third is to illustrate value. So we're going to be, hey, here's what I've done for other clients. Here's the types of people I've worked with. Here's how we got them XYZ result. And doing that, I think, has been really helpful to illustrate that. The last pieces here is to offer a silver and a gold option, which is having a lower tiered option and a higher tier option for people that are willing to pay more. Really, really big piece that is helpful to go into that side of it. And then the last thing is to follow up with people as well. Okay, so moving into the two-step sales process, basically what this looks like is we're going to have a discovery meeting, and then we're going to have a pitch meeting. So in this discovery meeting, when someone comes in, we're going to listen more than we're going to talk. So when this discovery meeting happens, I'm asking them a million questions and writing notes and letting them explain to me who they are, what they want, how I can help them with their business, right? Too many times, a lot of us will get on this first call, we'll just show up and throw up, tell them everything that we do, why we're a great choice, and then when they don't want to buy, they don't understand why, right? So we want to try to eliminate that as much as we can and connect, be empathetic, and better understand their problems. After this call is done, then I'm going to move into a discovery meeting. So once this discovery meeting is done, we're going to close it out, schedule a pitch call with them. We'll take a week, come back, put together a proposal, a solution, and then pitch it to them in that discovery or that pitch meeting, the second one there. So that's really the process there. And in that discovery meeting, we're really asking, what does a successful campaign look like? How much money are you willing to spend or have you spent on marketing this year? What are some of the impacts and the pain points that come with you when it comes to this project? And we ask those questions and try to figure that out a little bit more. Then, as I mentioned, when we move into that pitch meeting, I like to kind of run through my pitch deck, explain the solution to them, and then give them a silver and a gold option. So what that looks like in practice is the silver option is typically what they asked for. If it's like one video or two videos, whatever it is, basically what they asked me specifically for, I will give them an option for that. And then on the higher priced option, the gold option, I will have some kind of upsell. So maybe it's a bigger video with more deliverables. Maybe it's something that has a little bit more kick to it. That's usually what we'll tend to do for that. So then we'll kind of have this nice little wrap-up meeting, see how they like it, and then typically if they move forward, then we can close that deal with that higher pitch offering, or even when we close that first project, then we can come back and maybe have that conversation 3 months down the road. Hey, do you want to upgrade your package and do more things since we're doing really well for you? So there's that kind of secret there. In terms of the pitch meeting, I think a lot of people struggle with like how to run it efficiently. The main thing I would say is like run the meeting yourself and take control in that second meeting. You want to kind of set the tone and don't let them kind of steer it because it's your meeting. You're going to run it the way you want, and that helps get the end result you're looking for. So for those pitch meetings, I typically tell people kind of save your questions till the end. Ask me those at the end. That kind of helps price anchor it a little bit more. The other piece too is like presenting the larger package first. So I call that price anchoring. That's basically you would pitch the gold offer first and then pitch the silver option. So they see that higher ticket option first. And that helps kind of showcase, hey, here's what the highest tier could be. And then we have a lower tiered step down that you can do as well. The other piece of it too is after you present the options for pricing, a good solution is to stop talking. So present the options, say, so those are the options, and then just get quiet for a little bit, let them digest. Crickets, okay? I would wait 10, 15, 20 seconds until they say something, and then we start the kind of rebuttal process where we're going through feedback loops, they're asking questions, we're answering the questions, we're seeing what problems they have with this and why they would want to or not to move forward with this type of project. So that's usually what we're looking for, and that kind of helps steer the meetings as well. And then lastly, don't attempt to hard close if you can on these pitch calls. For something like this, if it's $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for a company, that's typically a pretty big investment. most of them are not going to just sign a check on the call. There are some people that do that, but I suggest people don't try to hard close in those meetings. Say, okay, I'll let you guys kind of cook on this for a week. We'll come back and we'll talk about it later. That's kind of a good approach to this to kind of get you at least to the finish line and getting in kind of that feedback loop for the ending. And sometimes it takes them, 5, 6, 7 days to kind of cook on it until they're ready to move forward. So that's a good piece of it there as well. Okay, so kind of moving into the high ticket closes, things that I would suggest you do to kind of help close those high ticket projects. One would be the wouldn't it make sense close. So if you're talking to someone, and they're saying, oh yeah, I'm kind of thinking about this. I like to say the wouldn't it make sense close. So if you're already spending $20,000 a month in ad runnings that you're doing for YouTube or Facebook ads, wouldn't it make sense to invest $8,000 or $10,000 in a video project to make sure that you have professional level quality to support that ad spend, or something like that, where you're kind of taking the things that they gave you in that discovery meeting and you're using that as ammo to kind of frame your solution to solve the problem, right? The other one that I like is the sales close. So all you need is blank in sales to break even. So if you know, hey, they sell farm equipment, right? And it's a $300,000 combine or tractor. Hey, all you'd have to do is sell one of these tractors and you'll cover the cost of this campaign. So that kind of helps, again, put it in terms of what the business is used to, and that helps support that as well. The other piece of this too is looking at how much this issue is costing you each month. The video project would help you save blank in budgeting, So this one's more of like the saving money thing. Again, if you know they're dropping a ton of money in this because they've explained that to you in the discovery call, you can use that as ammo to kind of reframe it later on for people as well. And then also the other way I say is sometimes the way I see it, you have a couple options. One, you could hire an intern in-house. You could hire a full-time employee to do this for you. You could hire our company to do it, or you could pay a ton of money to hire an agency that would then hire us to do the same work. So kind of framing it in their options, giving them an options close is always great to kind of put it in perspective for what they're paying for is what they're going to get type of thing. So, okay. So really the place that I would suggest people start if you're getting this far in the conversation here is, one, to have a documented sales process. So like we mentioned, lead reaches out, you have an email that sets up a pitch call or a discovery call, to ask them a bunch of questions, try to figure out what their problems are. Then we move into a pitch call where you're going to take those questions, turn them into a proposal and a solution and sell that. The other piece of this too is to make sure that you have a pricing structure and a plan for growth. So if you're only scraping by offering day rates, maybe consider upping your price 10% every single project until half the projects that you offer that price to say no because it's too expensive. Then you kind of settle into this like good place that's typically pretty good. The next piece is I would also encourage you to reach out to 50 ideal leads via email, Instagram DM, LinkedIn, however you want to do it. Just get on the horn and start calling people, asking people, making sales a bigger effort in your business. So that's something I would encourage you to do. The other piece too is to create weekly marketing pieces similar to posts on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook page, whatever you got to do to get people interested in your business. I would encourage you to do that. And then, of course, if you follow this sales process, you're typically going to close a higher percentage of your leads. So I would encourage you to take everything we talked about in the session today, apply it in your business, and I think it's going to be a really good situation there. Okay, so if you want to learn more, as I mentioned, I have a couple DIY programs, but there's actually something that's going on this week that's kind of pertinent or influential in what's going on here. And is that we are launching our first cohort of the Solo Video Pro Mastermind. So if you didn't see my reels or my posts earlier this month, we're launching a small business coaching program for video business owners. So we're capping it at 15 people. But basically, these 15 people will go through a 12-week cohort or group that is going to learn a new business topic every single week. We're going to have a small roundtable discussion, and we'll have shooter spotlights where you can sit in, ask your questions, get live answers to real problems in your business, and talk with us one-on-one in kind of a mentorship situation. So I'll be leading the group, but there will also be other video business owners just like you in the group that can provide support, transparency, accountability, all the fun stuff that goes with that. So really what this group is meant to do is to, one, if you're not to the 6-figure mark with your business, get you to making at least $100,000 a year in your business. If you're already at that mark, you want to get higher. It's really taking you from being a solo shooter and changing your mindset to get to the point where you're making multiple six figures, like we mentioned, to get to that point where you're a video business owner, not just a videographer. So we're going to help you master the sales process, get the answers to your business questions, and get you further faster, because you're going to be accountable for what you're supposed to do, because we're going to hold you accountable and make sure that you're doing the things that you promise yourself and the group that you're going to be doing. So that's kind of the overview of it. Like I mentioned, there's a 12-week process. So this first cohort will be starting next week, which is pretty crazy. So we're capping this first cohort tomorrow is the cutoff day. So like midnight tonight is basically when we're cutting it off. So the doors are closing tonight. So if you're really interested in wanting to learn more about the mastermind, all that type of stuff, just leave a comment on this post and I'll send it over to you guys. Also, if you don't have, or if you're ready to look at kind of what that next step is, pricing and all that type of stuff, I will put that in the chat here so you can check that out. But basically kind of an overview is it's a 3-month, every month payment that goes through. And what we're doing for this first cohort is that we are actually cutting $450 off of the primary price of this program, because we want to get people in, we want to get them results and show that this is a viable option for you guys. So this first cohort is heavily discounted for that reason. So you're going to be saving $450 from just doing it the first cohort, which is pretty fun. So also the other fun thing is that if you're watching this live, there's going to be an extra benefit to you as well. So anybody in this video community that was watching this video basically is going to, if you join today, you're going to get a 20-minute one-on-one consult with me, which is completely included for free. No one else in the group is getting that, so that's an extra benefit to you. If you're watching this today and you want to join, this is the time to do it. So like I mentioned, I put a link to it in the chat below, so if you guys have any questions, you can check that out. I did answer some of the questions that we had earlier, but I see our guy that was listening or watching had taken off. So now that we're at the end of the presentation, if you have any questions about sales, marketing, closing tactics, whatever you want, happy to answer those for you as well. But yeah, really excited to jump in with everyone, see if we can help as many people as we can. So, okay, let me check the feed here, see if there's any other questions we've got. Okay, it looks like we answered that one. Okay, yeah, we had some questions about the wedding industry, very unique industry. That one especially is really around vendor partnerships, right? So finding local venues, local other shooters that can bring you on as a second shooter if you're just getting into the business. Florists, coordinators, boudoir photographers, like people that are also in the industry can refer you business, which is kind of a good thing. So if you are also in weddings, very lucrative niche if you know how to do it well. And making connections with those other vendors, it's critical to getting referrals, so then you don't have to work as hard to try and close new people that are engaged. They will send you people that are engaged, which is kind of a cool option there. So, okay, I'm not seeing any new questions. So if you're watching the replay on this, you can still leave a comment, which is great. I'll try to get back to those all in the next day. But just an overview, guys, we just talked about the 2-step sales process. So watch this back. If you guys want the slide deck, I will put a link to it after this live is done. I'll put it in the comment section so you can check it out. But yeah, really excited to see you guys in the mastermind. If you're curious about that, leave me any questions you have here and we'll answer those. And we are closing the doors tonight at midnight for that cohort. So if you want to join, now's the time. And if you're on the fence, you'll have to wait another 3 months before you can get back in. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks so much for hopping on. My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and I'm out. Peace.